So, I guess I wasn't very clear in my first video, or I wasn't clear enough. There's a lot of people out there that just refuse to learn. And so I'm going to make a little bit more blunt of a video for all the hardheads out there. I mean, reading these comments in that last video makes you just want to slam your head into the wall. When I was a young man, when somebody with way more experience than me was talking, I did one thing. I listened. And I absorbed everything they said, and I stored it. If it was wrong, I'd figure that out later. But the most frustrating part is you all have Google. And you could Google what I said and verify it. But you still want to question an expert with 39 years of experience. And it's just obvious to me it's got to be explained to you people in a language that a child can understand. So pay attention, I'm fixing to educate you. Every automobile manufactured after 1972 has a torque converter clutch based transmission. And that torque converter requires fluid pressure in order to engage. The transmission, automatic, has a series of clutch packs through it. Little discs with fiber on them that rub together and make the wheels turn. And those will only create friction when there's fluid pressure pushing on them. And that fluid pressure is created by the engine spinning a pump that creates upwards of 5,000 psi. As soon as the engine shuts off and that pump stops turning, that transmission will freewheel. Every gear, any direction. Every gear, any direction. All cars, school bus, car, dump truck, Hellcat, CRV, BMW, Ferrari, IndyCar, I don't care what it is. If it's equipped with a torque converter clutch style transmission, it will free spin when the engine is not running. And there's a reason for that. It does that for a reason. You know, when you step on your gas and you feel the car start to nudge ahead, and then you give it a little bit more gas and it nudges more and then it goes, that's that pressure packing up against those clutches making the wheels spin. Car will set still in neutral. Car will set still in idle darn near. A lot of cars, you can take your foot off the brake in an idle and it won't move. Won't move till you give it a little gas and bring that line pressure up by increasing the RPM of the pump. And the reason why we do that, why do we do that? Prior to 1972, many automatic transmissions were built with a center shaft direct lockup to the engine. There were a set of star gears that would spin, and when they reached a certain RPM, some cogs would fly out and catch an outer drum and make the car be a complete, the transmission and the rear wheels and the engine become one. We didn't have overdrive in those days. All we had was 1, 2, and 3. And third gear was a direct lockup to the engine. But there was a problem with that. If you were going down the highway and the engine locked up, you're running 70 miles an hour, you're running down the drag strip, you're racing your buddy, you're pulling your boat, you're going down a hill in your dump truck, and the engine stalls and locks up, what's going to happen to the fucking rear wheels if it doesn't free spin? It's going to lock up and you're going to spin out of control and you're going to crash. And that happened a lot. So engineers set out to solve that and to solve higher gas mileage. They figured out ways with fluid pressure to create an overdrive system in the torque converter itself. This is not an opinion, folks. This is mechanical facts. And what's so frustrating is you got knuckleheads out there that have never once put a wrench to an automobile, or anything mechanical for that matter, and they question that rather than Google it. They question it, even challenge it. Instead of absorbing it and going, oh wow, now I know something I didn't know before, they make up silly theories in their head about the way things work, and then tend to want to believe their own made-up theories that aren't based in anything other than their own fabricated theory. That's always wrong, almost always wrong. And it is so frustrating to see people comment back and forth, arguing about known common facts that are easily confirmed with a simple Google search. You're never going to get any smarter if you don't stop this. When somebody that knows more than you is talking, you absorb what they are saying and you don't question any of it. You just store it. Then, throughout your life, if you're able to debunk that in some way, great. Now you're even smarter. But the best thing to do is just assume it's correct until you know it's not. And I can't believe there are so many adults out there that don't realize an automatic transmission cannot lock up when the engine stalls. It'll fucking wreck you. It's got to coast to a stop. Shut your car off on a hill and drive and quit fucking questioning this shit. Google it. Come on, people. It's not this hard. It's not this hard. You know, you guys did the same thing with the Amber Alert. There's been a raging debate as to why there was no Amber Alert in this case. When all you got to do is Google what constitutes an Amber Alert. And you'll know the true story. You won't have to argue about it anymore. Nothing, not one thing about the Kiely Rodni case would constitute an Amber Alert. It's not for that. It's not for missing people. It's not for a teen that didn't come home. It's for a known child abduction that's active. And it's designed to alert people in the immediate area, hey, a child's been abducted. Watch for this vehicle. Watch for this person. And it needs to be rare to be effective. If it was overused, every time a mom called and said, hey, my teen didn't come home last night, your phone would blow up nonstop and it would become ineffective. So of course there was no Amber Alert in this case. Why would there have been? There was no abduction. Her mom didn't call and say, my child got abducted. She called and said, my teen didn't come home last night. Might maybe assume abduction could have happened, but nobody saw any abduction to report it to turn it into an Amber Alert. Simple as that. And the Google image stuff, guys are still arguing about that. And you can Google and ask Google, when does Google update? Do it right now. How often does Google Earth take a photo of my house? Do that right now. And don't read the first sentence, read the whole damn thing. Problem solved. You don't have to argue about it anymore. Now you know. It's up to a year, maybe 2 years. Now, there are exceptions to that. In very booming economies where there is constant building going on, like in Vegas and places like that, they do update it a little more often. But it's months, not immediate. It's at least a month. None of them are live. I couldn't find a Google image photo of the Truckee area that was less than a year and a half old. 2021, May of 2021 was the newest Google image, satellite image I could find of the Truckee, California area. And the street views are 3-4 years old. Some of them 8 years old. Yet, you guys are still arguing about this. I don't know, man. Maybe you want to stay stupid. I don't know.